Okay, I'll try to do a kind of a short video on my yellow deltas, and I'll also try to cover some of the flake foods I use and stuff like that I use in the fish room. See if that helps you out. This is a young, taggy young yellow deltas that's growing out. I did pretty good with these last year with some IFGA shows. I think I ended up 4th in the class, which, hey, 4th isn't first, but it wasn't bad. I didn't send anything to the last 3 or 4 shows, so this one's got a little chunk out of his tail. Kind of the problem with growing them out is sometimes the females get a little aggressive. I think they figure their tail might be food, but the problem with yellow deltas, and probably why you don't see too many for sale anywhere, is more or less that they're a little bit of a weaker strain. You may not see full color in the tail. Sometimes they have some spots where you can see through them. Not really spots, but like sections. Like this one is a little bit. And a lot of them, it's a little bit of a weaker strain. You get some that are veil tails versus the delta tail. But females come out really good. They usually get a yellow sheen on them. I'll start pulling breeders out of this tank soon. I've too many fish in here to begin with, but there's a couple of nice males, so I want to pull them. Like this one's really nice. And that one's got to come out. Right there, he's got a little bit of a color discrepancy. So actually I'm going to pull him out next. And this one's really nice right in the middle there. So there's some I got to take out. The others, I did set these up as breeders. I think I put 4 pair in here. A couple of females already have the real nice color, like this one in the center. There she goes. She has a little bit of a longer dorsal too. I don't get too many like that with these. This is a really nice male, but his tail just got bitten, so that kind of screws that up. But I can still use him as a breeder. This male, same thing. And the color's a little bit lighter. But I pulled out a 3 or 4 males. This is a young male on the left here. And it has a good color. They all seem to get a couple of red spots in the body. For me, anyway. So, I'm not saying I get red spots on my body, but these males do. So, it's a shame. This one's a real nice one, but he just got clipped by somebody that must have mistook him for a brine shrimp or something. And, yep, so I'll let these go for a while, pull the babies out. I have a thin leaf water sprite at the top. And the other thing I thought I might go over a little bit, in case people don't like yellow deltas too much, is the types of food that I use. I feed 1 feeding a day of live baby brine shrimp to all the baby fish and some of the adults. A lot of breeders that show fish don't feed the adult males live baby brine shrimp after like 5 or 6 months. They don't want to interfere with them getting like a real chesty appearance, which isn't good for the shows. But see if I can move this over. And these are the types of food that I use. What I do is I let's see, I use a base flake, and what I do, I mix them in a bucket, like a 3-gallon bucket. So I use sometimes Tetramin as a base flake, so I'll take out some scoops of that into a bucket, and then I add this color flake. This one's called the Works. It's pretty much got about 9 kinds of flake varieties in it. And I use this one also, which is a growth. So I mix the 4 of them together, and I also use a spirulina or an egg flake. So let me see if I can find them. They're over here. So I also use the ones in a black bag are from Angels Plus. These I got from Ken's Ken's fish, I think. Ken's fish, I think it is. Anyway, that's the spirulina. And then sometimes I'll also use his brine shrimp flakes, but I don't use that as much anymore because there's everything in the works flakes. And another one that I use once in a while is this Predator blend, which has different kind of meat flakes in it. What I like about Angels Plus selling them in these black bags is they're resealable, so I can use them for some other stuff. This one is a spirulina, which I use sometimes as well. So that's what I do. I try to mix it up so that I can put it into a different container, which this obviously is not freeze-dried bloodworms from San Francisco Bay, but I use the container because it's a good size, and you can see there's a pretty good mix of everything in there. I mix it up in the bucket. Just a plain bucket like this one here, which is a larger thing of Tetramin. I think that's like 2 pounds. And mix it in a big bucket like that, and then dump some more of it into either something like this or something like this. So it just makes it handier to feed the fish. The other thing I'd say to try to do to make things in your fish room go a little bit easier is get something like this, which is one of those organizer things, which I'm one of the least organized people in the world probably, but you can put a lot of the stuff in there. I got bags, extra airline tubing, scissors, some stuff to write on in case I have to mark a tank, some disease stuff, and the all-purpose razor blade, which comes in handy. And I also recommend, that you probably already use, are little containers. These I use for almost everything. I'll put frozen brine shrimp or bloodworms in it with some hot water and mix it up, and then this way I can just use like an ear syringe to get them into the tanks. So that works out pretty good. And the other thing I might add with the those little containers is if I'm going to move fish around, I'll take the water they're coming from and fill it about halfway in that little container, and then put the fish in it obviously, and then put in some of the new water, and then it'll float in the top of the tank here. So that's one of the better things about it, is it won't sink and it won't turn over. So they're pretty good to use. And then I just dump some of the water out after about 10 minutes and then put some more of the new water in. So far that works out pretty good, because I move fish around a lot. This tank here was one of the ones I videoed last week, and it had all this disgusting green slimy algae on it, which I got out. Obviously I took the tank down, changed the fish out, and this one has some really weird looking plants that aren't making it. But this one had the algae too, and I got that out of it. And I got some kind of a snail. I don't even know what the heck that one is. These are platinum red mosaic big ears. They're really young. They were just born October 15th. My weird way of marking the tanks is I just use like a small post-it note and put it down there. So these are the original trio. It's the original male of the platinum red mosaic big ears. You can see that his pec fins have gotten really big, but in contrast, the red mosaic tail color is now almost just red and black. So the females with this one, this is a second generation female. This is the original female from March. She's starting to kind of get some weird shape to her, so I'll let her have one more batch of babies and I'll pull them out, pull that female out. So, and this is another, it's one of the first generation ones, the larger ones, and they just had 2 batches of babies. There's those, and then there's these tinier ones that were born 2 days ago. So these are really incredible looking fish, the platinum red mosaic big ears. Now that one, that's a younger male, and that one will get a matching dorsal probably within about 2 or 3 weeks. I'll take another video of this tank in a couple of weeks, and you'll be able to see that dorsal turned the same color as the tail. For some reason, these fish just take longer to color up. But I have to be careful selecting the breeders, because I have to really hope that I'm not going to lose anything with the line if the fish doesn't color up the way it should. So I try to wait as long as I can, and I try to mix in a couple generations of females just in case. So I do try to pick the females with the larger pec fins, but they're not as noticeable as the male. The male's pec fins, this one, they're just pretty much gigantic. It's almost like a betta, I guess. Anyway, the whole point of the video is the Yellow Deltas is a line you don't see too often, and the issue on the flake foods. So I try to feed one feeding of flake food later in the day, and then earlier I try to give them the live baby brine shrimp. If the hatch of live baby brine shrimp is a bust and it's not enough to feed much, then I'll give them frozen brine shrimp, or just 2 feedings of the flake foods. So that's why I pack it with 5 different types, so that this way I know they're getting plenty of protein, and it's a pretty reputable food from either Ken's Fish or from Angels Plus. There's some other ones that have really good foods as well. The Tetramin is like I use that as like a base. It's not the greatest food, but it's pretty decent. And I don't get any discounts or get any free food. I'm not one of the YouTuber people that gets all kinds of free stuff and then goes and says how good it is. I tell you the truth, whether if I like the stuff or not. So anyway, I hope I didn't bore you too much. Thanks for watching.